Secretary of State Antony Blinken testifying before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, facing his second day of interrogation from Republican and Democratic lawmakers. This comes following President Biden's botched Afghanistan withdrawal.
Our panel is here to weigh in on these latest developments. Host of the Tony Katz Show and host of Eat, Drink, Smoke, Tony Katz, and Red State Editor-at-Large, Kira Davis. Thank you both for joining us. Let's start with you, Tony. Were you able to listen to some of the testimony today or perhaps yesterday? Your thoughts on whether or not this is actually going to be able to get the answers needed in terms of what happened with the botched withdrawal?
I caught some of it yesterday. I caught some of it today. I think it was Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin who said Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State, is completely detached from reality. You have Bob Menendez, the senator from New Jersey, saying that he's very bothered by the fact that Lloyd Austin, the Secretary of Defense, won't show up. He may get subpoenaed. I consider that to be excellent news because answers matter greatly in this conversation, because to deny the idea that Joe Biden and Joe Biden's team failed in this withdrawal is to deny reality. And Antony Blinken, especially today, when he finally did show up in person as opposed to the Zoom call, wanted to lay it all at the doorstep of Donald Trump, and none of that is factual. You can discuss whether or not you like the Trump deal with the Taliban. You can discuss aspects of it. But when it came to the withdrawal, which is the conversation we are having, that is all Team Biden, and Team Biden failed America. That's what we know for a fact, regardless of whether or not Secretary Blinken admits it.
Yeah, and Kira, it's pretty weak to blame President Trump. I mean, he's been in office at the time getting out of Afghanistan 7 months. And even if there was no plan, which some people from the Trump side say that's not true, he had time to create his own plan.
Well, yeah, obviously. I mean, I think Tony hit the nail on the head. This is complete incompetency. And this is all just smoke and mirrors to try to cover up the incompetency. It's so obvious that the administration botched this, that even the left-wing media is having to concede the horrible job that Biden has done with this. So, you know, when even the left-wing media can't deny reality, you know it's bad. So, and the fact that they're bringing up Trump, I mean, this is happening across the country right now. I know we're going to talk about this later, but it's happening here in California today, where Democrats don't really seem to have anything positive to run on, any solid plans to run on. And so what do? They resort to what they did in 2020, which was just running against Trump. And, you know, the bad thing about Trump losing is now he's not here anymore to blame. And so you think they'd move on, but they can't move on. There's no one else to blame. They're the ones in charge. They're the ones almost exclusively in charge. There's literally no one else to blame. So you just got to blame the ghost of Donald Trump and hope that that's going to be enough to motivate voters come 2022.
Yeah, Tony, listen to what Senator Ted Cruz had to say, calling out Secretary Blinken and others on what happened. Listen.
We've seen Democrats on this committee explaining at great length how everything that happened in Afghanistan is Trump's fault. It's all Trump's fault. Mr. Secretary, Joe Biden is the president of the United States. Kamala Harris is the vice president of the United States. You are the United States Secretary of State. Just like Jimmy Carter owns the disaster of the Iran hostage crisis, you own this.
Tony, what's your response?
Well, he's right. The man grows a beard and all of a sudden he knows everything. He's totally right. And the only thing he has done wrong so far in the past couple of years is that flight to Cancun. Ted Cruz is absolutely on it. And this is where the heartland is, right? This is where America is. We know when somebody has failed. We know when somebody's trying to obfuscate. We talk about this Trump stuff as Kira and I know each other long before meeting right here on this show. We've discussed this very often. This Trump fetishism is remarkable. The political left does have nothing else, and they know that they have allies within the media that will simply share that story and try to move that story. But here in the heartland and throughout America, amongst rational minds, and that's just not Republicans or conservatives, independents and moderates and soccer moms, they know what they saw. And they know that there's no such thing as a timeline when you're the president of the United States, and you've already moved the timeline from May to August. Of course, this is on Antony Blinken and Joe Biden and Mark Milley and Lloyd Austin. Of course, it's on them. Yet we don't understand why Democrats would even begin to defend it. Luckily, there are a few who won't.
Yeah. And of course, one of the things getting people out of Afghanistan, Senator Risch today kind of laid out the scenario earlier today. Listen.
The numbers are telling. You evacuated 6,040 Americans and say only a couple of hundred remain. Your own department told this committee in July that there were 10 to 15,000 Americans in Afghanistan. There's a huge difference between 6,000 and 15,000. What happened to these other Americans? The situation with the special immigrant visa evacuations is even more disturbing. Not counting the SIVs that arrived before Kabul's fall, you evacuated 705 of roughly 20,000 principal SIV applicants. What happened to these people?
Yeah, and Kieran, there was not a good answer to that. And another thing is when they ask for specific numbers, they tend to say, oh, a handful of people left.
They also keep giving us this phrase that is like, oh, we promise to evacuate every American that wants to leave. You know, right. These are just word games so that we can't pin them down on something. They don't know anything. I keep saying this over and over again, not with just this Afghanistan situation, but with everything, with COVID, with everything surrounding this administration. If it feels like things are chaotic to you right now, it's because things are chaotic. This president did not take office with a clear mandate. And I don't even think he took office with a clear idea of who was in charge of what. So we're seeing the results of that. And unfortunately, that has cost us lives. I'm not sure anyone's in charge, you guys. And that is the problem that we're seeing here. I think there are a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and I think the main chef is out for his smoke break, and he's probably never coming back. These people don't have a clear clue about what's going on, and we, the American people, are witnessing that. When you can't even count on the people who are supposed to be the smartest people in the room to tell you how many Americans are on the ground in Afghanistan, a battlefield, you know we're in trouble.
Tony, final word.
If you ask those people in the room, though, they will agree that they are the smartest people in the room. They all agree that they're the smartest. We're just the ones who have to deal with it.
I will give you this. Blinken looks like the most elite. He's very elitist, isn't he?
He wasn't at the Met Gala. He doesn't even come close.
That's a whole nother story.
That's
Are we going to talk
level.
about AOC's dress today? Maybe coming up after this break.